Hello and welcome to our review of Conflict Denied Ops for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. As the fifth game in the Conflict series from Pivotal Games, Denied Ops pretty much stays at the same level of quality as the previous iterations. And if you have played the other games, you know that they are basically just bargain bin games that, if you're looking for something just to get you through the weekend until a new game comes out, maybe you'll reach for one of these, but they're not known to be A or top quality games, and this game definitely keeps that tradition going. Now the game tells the story of, bad guys trying to get a nuclear weapon and other people trying to stop them, and it's a very generic story. If you've played basically any other of these type of games or watched an episode of 24, you know exactly what's going to happen, and you've seen it all before. In fact, I'd recommend just kind of skipping through those cutscenes because there's really not a lot to see there. But when you actually get down to the gameplay, you're going to play as two agents at once, and that's one thing that makes the game really unique, is that you can switch between two playable characters at the same time just by pressing, on the PlayStation 3 at least, the circle button. And the two agents are Lincoln Graves, who's a typical, grizzled sniper guy who's been in the military for a long time, seen everything, and then you have kind of the typical sassy black guy who's, he hasn't been in combat as long as the white guy, so they're always kind of, jawing at each other about that, and, there's some really goofy things that they say to each other, like, for instance, when you're in the snow level, the Lincoln Graves, the sniper, says something along the lines of, "You ever done a snow mission before?" And Reggie, the other guy, says something like, "Yo, I'm a brother from Miami. I haven't seen snow at all." It's really, really corny dialogue. And the game has a lot of problems just beyond the fact that it has bad writing. The control system, where you basically try and tell the other player to do something, it's kind of squad-based mechanics. It never really works out well. Like, for instance, here I was trying to tell the guy to get in the tank, and for some reason they want you to tell the other agent to get in the tank. So then you're basically just following him and telling him where to go, and you're going to see what happens here when you try and control two guys at once with these mechanics. It doesn't always work out the way you want it to. So, hey, go over there. Oops, he just ran me over. And fortunately, I guess, when one agent dies, you automatically switch over to the other agent, and you can heal them by going over and pressing the X button next to him, which is also the melee button. You're going to do that a lot. Almost hit the guy. And either way, when you're doing this, you're very vulnerable, and you're probably just going to die if you're full of a lot of enemies like I did there. And here's another instance where gameplay is just kind of BS. I was in this tank, and I just blew up, and you'd think that the other agent would have been following me the whole time. Well, you're wrong. Basically, the tank is on one side of the level, and the other guy's on the other side of the level. So you basically have to run instead of, the tank moves rather quickly, but on foot it takes forever to get from one side of the level to the other, and you only have 2 minutes to heal this guy. So you're running and trying to shoot these guys who just miraculously appear out of nowhere. And the problem is, too, is you can't really tell when they're dead sometimes. They just fall over only to get up again. And that's not to say that the game doesn't offer any fun scenes. Like, in the snow level, there's a couple times where it's a little bit fun to play. You're fighting, and this helicopter is basically, taking people out. It can be a little fun, and with the environments that are destructible, too, there are some cool scenes with that. But the graphics don't do the game any justice. It looks very Xbox One or PlayStation 2, and you're going to notice a lot of no texture backgrounds, and just a lot of just really poorly made levels that don't look anything like any of the games you'd expect on the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3. And I think that's the real problem here, is the game is just very bargain bin. It's not anything that I would spend the $50 that this game retails for. It's a game that, maybe if it was like $10, you might want to give it a try, or maybe a rental if you're really desperate and you say Blockbuster's out of everything else. But the single player is very typical. It brings nothing new. Crappy graphics, really bad gameplay. It's just a really piece of crap in general, to be honest with you. I haven't played a game this bad in a long time. And the fact that you play as two agents at once and you can switch back and forth between them is kind of cool. And this is even available online if you can find someone else to play with. When I was playing this on the PlayStation Network, there was absolutely no one else playing, and it was just one of those things where I don't really understand why anyone would want to play this game online. I mean, there's some deathmatch modes or whatever, but there's so many better games out there that have similar modes. Like I went into this lobby here, and there's just one guy just hanging out. What is he doing in there? Is he waiting for someone to come and save him and play this awesome game with? It just doesn't make any sense. Like I really don't understand why you would want to play this game. So here's to Conflict and Night Ops, one of the worst games I've played in a while. But thanks for listening to our review, and stay as far away from this game as possible.